Trump campaign says Kamala Harris is looking for an out with just a little more than a week to go until their first debate.
I think that the Harris campaign is looking for an escape hatch. They refuse to accept the terms of the debate, which, again, everyone had already agreed to it. We'd agreed to it. ABC's agreed to it. The rules are the rules. They're not changing. But Kamala Harris and her campaign, they're afraid.
So this issue of the debate possibly not occurring as a result of Kamala Harris and her team having issues with the terms of the debate is resurfaced itself. Now, if you ask me, they don't have any issues with the terms of the debate. That's not the problem. They have an issue with confidence in Kamala Harris's competency to be able to perform in the debate where she doesn't have an emotional support animal with her, an emotional support human. I don't know if you guys have seen the little pink fuzzy wuzzy teddy bear that has been popping up on some of my thumbnails. But in case anybody was curious, his name is Tim. Okay.
Why? Because she's going to have to answer for every bit of this last 3.5 years.
A president of District Media Group and fellow at Independent Women's Forum, Beverly Hallberg, joins me now. Beverly, cut through all the noise in this. This has been going on for weeks now. Will they? Won't they? This thing, that thing. Mike's not Mike. What's the deal? What's really going on here?
Well, we're going to have to wait and find out to see what she actually agrees to. But I think.
Shout out to DC Precise, bro. That's facts. You guys throw some flames in the chat for DC Precise. And those videos, they're either still up or they're on members only. Shout out to FBA Built America. What's good with it? Yeah, I don't know if you guys haven't seen the little pink teddy bear, just in case anybody was curious. Oh, he's so cute, but his teeth are so sharp. What's his name? Just so anybody, so you can address him properly. So, because you get in a lot of trouble when you don't address people like that pink teddy bear the right way. It can be big consequences if you don't address them people with the right identification. His name is Tim.
The way the Harris campaign is running the campaign is very reminiscent of how Joe Biden ran his basement campaign strategy 4 years ago. It seems that what Democrats want to do is keep Harris out of the spotlight as much as possible. Anytime she's not around the teleprompter, they want to keep her quiet. I mean, look at the data so far. She has not done a solo interview. She has not held a press conference. And now a debate, which are the same rules that Joe Biden agreed to during his CNN debate, she seems to be having cold feet.
Now, here goes my thing. And this is what we asked about, right? We got to look at this from an analytical standpoint. We saw her bomb, right? We saw her bomb an interview that was constructed for her ease and to focus on her to make her shine, right? That was the case. Like, basically what happened was they put her in the slow class and gave her a cheat sheet. Would you guys agree? That's the scenario. And somehow she still managed to get a D-. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are in the slow class, it's politically incorrect nowadays to call it the slow class, and you use a cheat sheet and you get a D-, you might want to talk to the guidance counselor. You might want to try some different kinds of education, because what's going on where you're getting your education, it's just not working. It's not working. And see, that's the scenario that we just witnessed with Kamala Harris. She was in the slow class, open book, and had a cheat sheet, and still got a 60%. That's really bad. That's really bad. Joe Biden, we saw his brains melt live. Shout out to Shatera. We saw Joe Biden's brains melt live. I don't know how much assistance he had up there, but I think it was perceived that, he might have been an old man with a walker and a pacemaker and a diaper on, you know what I'm saying? But I think he was up there trying to fend for himself. It just looked like an old man walking on ice. If anybody's ever seen that, not a very good sight. You know what I'm saying? But that's what was going on, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say about this Kamala Harris situation, because she's not an old man with a diaper on. She might have a diaper, I don't know. But she's not an old man, though. I think we can say that with 100% certainty. Right? So how you bomb a card-stacked event is beyond me. And why you would pick someone who's capable of bombing a card-stacked event is even further beyond me. But that's the scenario that they've put themselves in, that they're dealing with now. And they're using silly projective tactics to try to avoid these realities that we're seeing in real time. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
And so I think this is going to be hard for her team to say that she's not going to do this debate when Joe Biden did it himself. And I think the American people are going to demand this debate, but it shows the cold feet for a good reason, because I think they honestly see that she's struggling to be able to stay on message. And it's also about the optics. Is she optically going to have the type of not just substance, but style that she needs?
Great question. Trump explaining why he thinks VP Harris will only do this debate on one network, that network, ABC.
But that's the only one she'll go to. Now, the other one is the head of ABC is her best friend and her husband's best friend, too. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to debate? I'd like to debate him.
Yeah, to be clear what Donald Trump's talking about, he is commenting on reporting that a very, very high-level executive at ABC is very close friends with Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris. So
Now, that's interesting. How many people were aware of that? I mean, it's not really surprising given the quote-unquote elements surrounding that situation. Right. But OK, it's cool to have heard about it and to have known it. Now, let me ask you guys this question. If you have a business and that business has a direct link to being friendly with a family member of yours, let me ask you guys this question. Can we bring up the question of a conflict of interest? Shout out to Deformed Pretty Boy. Deformed Pretty Boy said, bro, can you see her? Can you imagine seeing her talk to a dude in Iran? Yeah, I can, because I've seen those videos of what goes down with a lot of them people talking to them people in Dubai. So it'd probably be along those lines. It'd probably be along those lines. You know what I'm saying?
with that in mind, to Trump's point, can voters trust ABC to be right down the middle and impartial in this debate with all of America watching?
Well, this is where America will call them out if they're not. Now, I do think that there's always bias when you deal with legacy.
Now, I doubt this. I highly doubt that America will call anything out. I think that there's a small percentage of us who will, observe these things, and a small percentage of us who will call these things out. But it's difficult for us to be able to verbalize these things and to actually be able to talk about them and discuss them on an open forum where they need to be talked about, because everybody's living in a dream world. Like, nobody wants to look at reality. And what substantiates that dream world is that you have the mainstream media and the big tech companies. Mark Zuckerberg just recently admitted that he was complicit in Biden administration censorship and silencing. If they don't like what you say, they can basically make it illegal to say it. You saw what they did with the Hunter Biden laptop story. You saw what they did with C-19, right? Sure, you had to talk around those things in certain ways. It's almost as if you're talking about them people that Kanye West had a problem with, and we're just applying the protections of those people that Kanye West had an issue with to just whatever we want to apply it to get people to stop talking about it. Which is interesting, because speaking of those people, that happened to be that person that Kamala Harris is married to, that's related to them people, or that's friends with them people that are at ABC. Isn't it interesting, the 6 degrees of the 6 degrees of separation, if there's even such a thing? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys. We got 57 people watching it. We got 65 likes. If everybody could take a moment, smash that like button and try to get us to 110, that would be great.
Media. It is not a shock to the American people that ABC is not friendly toward Donald Trump and his policies. But I give Donald Trump a lot of credit where he says, I'm willing to go wherever I need to go to debate Kamala Harris. And again, it's putting a spotlight on someone who seems afraid to debate him. And so I think he's putting her in this tough position of having to say yes. Again, it's the same rules that Joe Biden agreed to. Why won't Kamala Harris agree to those same rules? I think at the end of the day, we're going to see her next week on that debate stage. And I think the rules are going to stay as is.
Let's create a hypothetical here. Neither party can really claim victory on September 10th at 11 o'clock once the debate is over. Both sides claim some sort of victory. Basically, what I'm saying is it's not a bloodbath like June 26 when Joe Biden and Donald Trump debated. Do you think they do a second debate?
I don't think so at this point. I would love more debates. I'm always going to push for that. But I think this is what both candidates need to accomplish. Now, for Donald Trump, who is very quick on his feet, I think he has to be careful about looking like a bully towards Kamala Harris. Stick to the policies, leave the personal insults alone. Let Kamala Harris bury herself. Now, on Kamala Harris's standpoint, she cannot have word salad.
Shout out to AB. We got to take a break for the perpetual 50. Throw some hashtag 50s in the chat. Throw some hashtag 50s in the chat.
This is the hardest record out.
Hey, did it play? See, I'm having some issues on my end. Did the drop play? Let me see. I'm gonna try it again real quick.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly.
It play? Okay, yeah. So it's playing for y'all. It ain't playing for me. That's what's up.
Has to seem commanding. And even in her recent interview with CNN, where she had Tim Walz on her side, the eye contact was poor. There was hesitancy. She has to come out in a commanding way. And I think if she doesn't, this could be really bad for her. I don't think it's going to be as significant as the Biden debate, but I think this could seal the deal for whether or not people think Kamala.
I think that this is actually more significant than the Biden debate. And the reason why I think that this is more significant than the Biden debate is because they replaced Biden with her, and what's interesting about it is that as actually handicapped as Biden was, it didn't, he had his normal, support system from the Democrats and all that, but it didn't look like he was really looking for or needed much extra support. Kamala Harris, the whole idea is that, she's the younger candidate and all of that, and she needs the handicap. She's not handicapped, allegedly, but needs the handicap. Like, it don't make any sense.
Kamala Harris is competent enough, especially in communication, in order to be president.
So if we remember back to what we're calling the Biden debate, soon thereafter, actor George Clooney wrote an op-ed basically calling on Joe Biden to step down, and he was questioned about it. His answer, curious. Listen.
I've actually never had to answer that question, so I suppose I'll do it here. The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington. And that's...
Except Beverly.
Let me ask you guys this question. First of all, I don't think George Washington is selfless at all. George Washington is a slave-owning scumbag and a thief. You know what I'm saying? You can put that on your dollar bill and sniff it. You know what I'm saying? But my question is, do you all agree? So let's just act like somebody is actually selfless, right? Let's not act like we're talking about somebody that didn't bathe for 3 months and owned slaves, like a true degenerate, right? Let's act like we're not talking about that. Let's talk about somebody that actually is selfless. Like, let's say like Malcolm X, right? So would you all compare Joe Biden's action of stepping down from being a president to somebody who was a true selfless American hero like Malcolm X? If you guys would, give me a thumbs up. If you guys wouldn't, give me a thumbs down.
George Washington didn't have an op-ed from a popular actor at the time demanding that he step down. Where's the shame in George Clooney, Beverly?
It really is quite rich. And I actually view this as typical bullying tactics. Here you had George Clooney, who didn't do this on his own. I don't think he wrote this op-ed. He had ghostwriters. I think he had Democrats behind him. Put an op-ed out forcing Joe Biden to leave, as well as other Democrats forcing him. And I think the deal they gave him was...
Now, I want to understand this. How is it in America that an actor can put out an op-ed, right? Value chain, right? Throw the chains in the chat. Value chain. We're going to talk about the criminal migrant value chain tomorrow. The value chain, right? How is it that an op-ed media piece, I believe this article went into the Washington Post, how is it that something from George Clooney can make a sitting president say, I don't think I'm going to run next year. I'm going to hand it off to you, Kamala. Really? An actor? Who, again, they've been asking this since Joe Biden's been in office. This right here should have even more people asking this, if you ask me. Who's running the actual country? Let me ask you guys this question. Is campaigning or being the president a more difficult task? Which is the more difficult task? The actual campaign or actually being the president? Which one is the most difficult? Which one has the highest level of difficulty? Why am I asking that? I'm asking that because campaigning takes less time. Campaigning more than likely could not get you in a situation where there could possibly be a nuclear confrontation. The presidency can. If he's not competent to campaign, how is he competent to be the president? Again, I've been asking this question for quite some time now. Somebody make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense.
If you do this, we are going to praise you. We're going to talk about putting you on Mount Rushmore. We're going to call you selfless. We are going to make comparisons to George Washington and being the best president who ever lived. I think this was his concession prize, so to speak, by actually caving to their bullying tactics. Again, I don't think the American people buy it. Most people see it for what it is. But apparently with Democrats, they still go on with the same narrative, whether or not it's true.
George Washington didn't spend 16 straight days at a beach. George Washington's experience with water was crossing the Delaware and basically winning the Revolutionary War. Beverly Hallberg, we appreciate your time. A great Labor Day. We appreciate you.
Yeah, that's a similar experience that many migrants have, quote unquote, crossing waters. Would you guys agree?